Say you're a company and you're just starting out and you haven't really put in an account scoring model, or you're just sort of kicking the tires on, reiterating on your first one. Where do you guys start?
I think the first thing I would do is start with a one sales analysis and see what do companies that buy from you look like, right? So it could be as simple as, mainly your firmographic and technographic data. I think that's just kind of like table stakes these days. But yeah, doing that full one sales analysis and then kind of building your ICP out from there. And then on top of that, we did a whole episode on intent data. I would lay your intent data on top of that. And then, the other one that I think is very important that I think a lot of people miss is your first party engagement data too. And how you weight each of those, I think, matters a lot. And it is one of those things where you are going to have to, do a little bit of trial and error on it. But I think those are kind of the main pillars of putting a full account score together.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, if you kind of take an inventory of all the data points that you can get to through your tech stack. So if you've got marketing automation, you've got first party data on what pages they're visiting. If you've got 6 Sense or a third party intent tool, you've got keywords pumping in. You've got a bunch of different data points that you need to kind of outline and then figure out how much weight am I giving to this data.
Exactly.
Right. So I think you guys are step one and step two. Step one, set up your ICP. You can't do account scoring because account scoring is based on proximity to ICP at the end of the day, right? You can't do that if you don't know what your ICP is, definitionally. I can't say how close is this to my ICP if I don't have an ICP.
Yeah, you're asking what companies have the highest propensity to buy.
Right.
Just look at the ones who bought already.
Right. So set up your ICP, get to a firm level on that, and then scoring scheme. Then you're talking about actually figuring out what are the actual criteria that I would use to assign, some sort of a weighted score, and it's probably 10, 15 different criteria, and determining how I want to weight those is also important. It's not just, and you can start flat. You could say, hey, I want 10 criteria. They're all going to be weighted evenly. That's great. That's a starting point. But the reality is what I would do, and what we do here actually, is just grab a spreadsheet, go in and say, hey, here's the 15 data points that we want to look at when we determine, the score of an account. And then we'll go through and say this one, which is high intent page visits, is more valuable than just website visits. Because if they're visiting this blog post, that's less valuable than if they're visiting our demo request form, right? We know that to be true. And so if they visit the demo request form, that equals 5 points in their score. And if they visit just the website, but not the demo request form, that's 2 points in their score. And we can map that out in a spreadsheet and then build that into our account scoring model, which allows us to do that. Because you're going to want some of that nuance. Other added benefit of that is that 3 months later, when you're like, I don't think our account scoring is great, you have a spreadsheet that spells out what it looks like. So you can go look at that spreadsheet and go, why did we put that in there? What are we doing? Which, by the way, you will do. It will absolutely happen to you. There were like 4 in ours that I was like, what did we build this? Like, what were we doing?